Well, hello there. I'm Rafael de Furia. Muito obrigado. Perfeito, obrigado. Well, I just got interrupted, but hello there. I'm Rafael de Furia, back at it again for another episode of Not Your Average Globetrotter. And today, I wanted to show just a little bit of a kind of semi-average day. I mean, I'm going to go out and do a couple things. I need to get a few things done. Something very exciting, get some toothpaste. Yes, very exciting. But I actually have to get it at the mall here in Braga, or one of the malls. There's actually three, and they're all very close to the center. Like right now, I'm at a cafe called Café Brasileira, or A Brasileira, and it's a great little place to come and get a little snack. And so I'm here with a pastel de nata. Whoa. Classic Portuguese little treat, fantastic little dessert. And this place happens to be like kind of a classic little place to come to in Braga. I'm gonna grab a few things and bring you guys along with me, but like I said in a recent video, I wanted to share this delight that is the pastel de nata. I mean, I'm gonna have to bite into this so you can guys see what it exactly is. It's basically just an egg custard tart with like a kind of crackly phyllo dough, sort of outside, crunchy, very good. I got mine topped with cinnamon and some powdered sugar. Adds like a really great extra little flavor, but just a egg custard tart. All right, so paid up the bill. And just for anybody who's curious, Brasileira, so that was down just back there behind me, right on this little corner. And also for anybody who might be curious about how much that cost for one water plus a pastel de nata, that came to €2.80. So I would say pretty fair. But here in Braga, I would say you could probably find something for a lower price. Like, not that it's necessarily so high priced, but fair for what it is, especially for sitting there. It's a fun place to sit, especially if you're going to sit there for a little while. So I just looked at Move It. That's the app that I generally use for public transportation. Not sponsored, of course, but it's just something that I've used for a long time. And it said that the bus is probably going to come in like 20 minutes or something. So what I'm going to do is I'm walking to an area, because of the way that traffic works here, it kind of has to go in one direction and then another. I'm just walking to an area that I know the traffic has to go in the direction of the mall. So I'm gonna walk down there and probably hail an Uber, unless there's a taxi just sitting right there. So let's see how that goes. The Uber probably would cost around €3, a little bit more, a little bit less, but a taxi could cost a little bit more than that. Well, also, you know you're in Europe when you hear bells. Whoop, it's still not over yet. So now this is roughly the point where I started that last video when we were out and about here in Braga. And actually, for those of you who may not know, we're dealing with a little bit of a sand cloud above Portugal, and actually Spain got hit a bit harder. The sand, this dust cloud, the sandstorm, has actually come up all the way from the Sahara Desert. So the air is not super clean today, but normally here it's like super clean. And I even posted about it on Instagram the other day. Like, I've been in places where a sandstorm meant like really thick, gritty, can't see in front of you kind of thing. And I was grateful that this sandstorm, this dust cloud above us, is actually not as intense as experiences that I've had in the past. There's just something also about this Portuguese style of architecture that I really enjoy. I feel like I said that probably a million times in the last Out and About episode, but there's something specifically like the tiles, that colors that it can add. It depends on where you are. Some tiles are like super colorful. Others are maybe less so. well, I can say mission accomplished. Got what I needed, and it was a pretty easy ride. I ended up getting really lucky both directions. Well, I should take this mask off. Probably gonna have a serious case of mask beard, but this is the life we lead now. Anyway, so now, normally I don't go out to eat too much, but today I wanted to show you guys maybe something a little Portuguese. I think maybe if I can find like a tasca or something, like a Portuguese, like kind of down home cooking sort of place, that maybe I'll have to check that out. There might not be one open right now, but I do have a few other errands that I do need to take care of here in the center. So maybe I'll walk by one and get lucky and show you guys just something you can find for lunch here. So for anybody who saw my last episode here in Braga, so this is kind of this cross street right here is where you have the main kind of street, main pedestrian drag here. But something that I really recommend, especially here in Braga and a lot of other places, when you're traveling or when you're coming to experience a place, get off the beaten path. Like really get off the beaten path. Okay, sometimes maybe some areas are better to avoid, but here in Braga there aren't really places like that so much that I would say, yeah, absolutely don't go there, it's not safe or anything like that. Here, basically, for the most part, everything is super safe. I think it's actually supposed to be one of the safest cities in the world. But what I'm doing is there's a street up this way. What I'm going to do now is go down here, because I know down here there are some restaurants that are not so touristy. And there's one place in particular that I hope is open, but I'm not sure if they really only are a dinner place or not. And that place is like super Portuguese, like beyond Portuguese. All right, now to get back a little bit on the main path so I can get off the beaten path again, cross over, because there's like up in this part behind the cathedral here, you can find some like cool places. Some of it can be very touristy, but you can get lucky and find a place that's not geared towards that crowd. One thing that I really like about this town is that even in the middle of the week, in the afternoon, okay, I'm in a really quiet spot right now, but there are still people around. Some tourists, some locals. I'm sure when it gets to be summer, there are going to be plenty more tourists, but you do find people just living their lives and just taking and enjoying the day, both tourists and locals. So it's nice to have a little bit of a mix like that. So again, we are in front of the main cathedral here in Braga, and this is actually a fun street to come to, especially like later afternoon or the evening, because all these places right here have tables out. You can sit, enjoy the evening, have something to eat, something to drink, whatever it may be. And actually though, if you go up a little further, just a little bit, and there's this little Portuguese place. But this place right here, let's see if it's open. It's called Churrascaria da Se, like grill house, steak house, da Se, of Se, like this part of town, like that's what this area is called. All right, I just had a look in the window and they are definitely open, so this is the place. Boa tarde. So, para lá. So like I was saying, this place is like super Portuguese. Like you can see all the tiles all around. A little bit faded. That's how you know the flavor is going to be good. So here, just for an idea of the prices, these are like ribs. So like you can see here, the ribs that have been grilled, $12.90. So just an idea, this is a steak, a grilled steak. The steak in there, the way that they do it, pork.
At this point, the microphone died, so here's the voiceover. But this right here is a codfish and potato little croquette, and it is so good. It's a really great way to start the meal. And this that I'm showing you now is like a beef empanada type thing. You can see the beef in there, ground beef inside. And these are little appetizers that are served ready for you to have right there before your meal. It's such a nice little refreshing thing, especially if you're super hungry, you're just about to have the meal. And the thing is, in Portugal, there are some restaurants that do have like a cover charge, like you might find in Italy, for example. Or what you might see is that they'll bring out some bread, some olives, maybe like a fish pate, or these little appetizers that you saw. And they do cost. However, what you can do is actually refuse them if you're not interested. You're not forced to take them. And I wasn't the only one that only took just these things. I wasn't interested in bread or olives at that point. And there was another table just across from me where they had refused everything but the bread. So if you find yourself here in Portugal, just know that, especially if you've been to Italy where the cover charge would be a mandatory thing, keep this in mind. And it's really good to know that you don't have to take it. But if it is your first time in Portugal, first time abroad, that yes, these do come with a cost. It's not like going to a restaurant in the US where the bread is just something that is included. This is something that you do have to pay extra for. And now it's time for, literally and figuratively, the meat and potatoes. This whole little platter here is what came with it. The steak is actually covered up here and it's quite big. So in a second, I'll uncover it so you can see it. But it came with rice, French fries, and salad, plus the meat itself, a pretty good sized portion. And it was all absolutely delicious.
Obrigado, boa tarde. Well, all I can say is that I am a very happy camper. That was so delicious. So for anybody who might be curious about what a lunch like that would cost at a place like this, actually specifically this place, Churrascaria da Sé, what it cost me was $15.90. And so that was that huge platter of steak, fries, rice, salad, plus those two little hot appetizers, mini little things, as well as the water. So I would say in comparison to many places, so it was actually a very fair price. You can find places that are lower cost, but this is like right on the edge of the tourist area. But that type of place there doesn't really attract tourists. That's more of a place where, at least the two times that I've been there, only locals. Well, I'll say that only locals and Brazilians. I've only heard local Portuguese and Brazilian Portuguese being spoken there. I've never heard English spoken there, but again, I've only been there a couple times. But those types of places anyway, I've found in my personal experience, even in my travels in Portugal, that Americans don't tend to be so attracted to Portuguese cuisine. They don't really give it the chance that it deserves. My personal opinion, Portuguese food is fantastic, and you just have to know what to order and what to look for, because some of it really gets overlooked. But anyway, today I still have a few errands left that I need to run, so I will say thank you all so much for watching, subscribing, and of course a huge thank you to those of you who help to support this project on a regular basis through Patreon or through the one-time support like shirts, mugs, onesies, and more, or the one-time donations through rafaeldefuria.com/support. Of course, as always, I'm Rafael de Furia. Stay safe and healthy out there, and I will see you all next time. Later.